All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. Welcome to another Ask a Black Man. Um, we have our title tonight as Success in Relationships, and I'm super excited to welcome three gentlemen who are entrepreneurs and have been successful in making their dreams become their career. And so, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you all to the audience. So, first we have Curtis, who is a chef, and he's been in business for himself for 6 years, and he has his own catering service and does private events. So, welcome, Chef Curtis.
Hello. Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And next we have Jamarlin. And Jamarlin has been in business for himself for 21 years as a musician and a producer. And he is now a new author, just released his autobiography titled Resilient. So Jamarlin, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm so happy to have you here. He's like a big brother to me. And next we have Calvin, which I know him as Agile, and he has been in business for himself for 21 years. No, I'm sorry, 18 years has it. He's been in business for himself for 18 years and has his own software company. So welcome, Calvin, to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so we're going to get into it. This evening's show is episode 6, and it is titled Success in Relationships. So obviously they have a lot, to do with each other. You select the wrong partner, that can affect, your success. And if you select the right partner, it can, accelerate your success. And we all know a little bit about that as far as pursuing our dreams and having the right people in our corner. So let's go ahead and get into it. So welcome, everyone. And our first question would be what does it mean to you to be a Black man? I'll go ahead and let you take it, Adra. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here looking at you. So Adra, you can go ahead and take that first. And
what does success mean to me as a Black man? Success I don't really measure as a Black man, just because for what I do, I have to compete on a world scale. So success as a whole, like regardless of who you're asking, is really just being able to do what it is that you love to do when you want to do it. To me, that's really just the simplest idea of success. Meaning, if you like making, I don't know, birdhouses, if you can do that all day, or whoever you want to do it for, to me, that's how you define success. I don't think that's colored in any kind of,
right.
landscape or anything. I think it's really about your own autonomy and what fulfills you as an individual.
Okay. Love it. And next, Curtis, you want to take that? Your definition or what success means to you as a Black man.
Okay.
Man,
I just as a Black man, I just think I really am similar to Mr. Brown here as far as success for me. Success for anybody is based off of them. What I may deem or consider successful may not be what the next Black man or any other man may deem successful. Success is being able to live life on my own terms and having the freedom of time to spend and use my time with how I want to use it, and not to attach to a desk or a clock. And if it's going to be a clock, it's going to be my clock because it's my clients and it's my thing. So that's me, because I was in corporate America, sitting in a call center or in an office or whatever I was doing, I felt like I always felt like a bird with clipped wings, right? Because you can, you're in per se, the job is like the cage, right? To an extent, and you're there on their time, their breaks, and whatever the case may be. And if you have any integrity about yourself, you're going to follow the rules for the most part of your employer, right? Because they're to be there to do a job. And the truth is, if you don't like it, then you don't have to be there. You're always choosing to be at your place of employment. It's a personal choice.
Right.
So, success for me, like I say, it's my time, the freedom of it, and not to be attached to having to be a place that I choose not to be, or that's not really building anything for me. So to be able to spend time with my kids when I have them, my family, my mother, to be there for friends and families or ball games for my nieces and nephews, make my own schedule for the most part. So that's what it looks like for me.
Okay, awesome. And when I say that, I'm thinking the reason that question came up is more so, as a Black man, a lot of times you'll hear different things. You'll hear, some from some people's perspective, depending on where they come from, their background, they, look at it as like it's even more of a success when you see it, from a Black man, especially when they come from a certain background where a lot of people are telling you can't do it, or this is your ceiling, and so for you, all you gentlemen, going the extra mile and being ambitious, believing in yourself to say, no, that's not my story. I can have whatever it is I want. I can actually, live my dream and make money, and take care of myself and be able to take care of my family. So it's kind of like that. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there before we move to Jamarlin. So Jamarlin, what's your take on that? What does success mean as a Black man? What does success mean to you?
To piggyback off these two brothers, it's pretty much the same thing. But for me, essentially, it's just creating what it is that I want to do and being compensated for it. That's success for me, whether it's selling lemonade or whatever it may be. Just as long as I start it and I come with the business plan, and if I complete it and, make $1, that's a win for me. That's success for me. And again, I just happen to be Black. So if I was Asian or white, it'd be the same thing. So I never really paid attention to the fact that I was Black. The world let me know that how they treated me.
But yes, so I guess what was that?
No, it wasn't going to deter me. I wasn't going to let anything stop me from achieving what I felt like success was, which was completing my task. So
awesome. Okay. So next question is, think about one thing in your life that has crafted you to be the person that you are today. What would that be, or what was that? We're on you, Jamarlin, so you can go ahead and take that.
Okay. For me, what crafted me was just hearing no so many times and not being discouraged. So I found out success was built on failure. So if I never quit, I never failed. So I just kept going and learning what didn't work. I actually found out what did work. So I just kept striving and driving to accomplish my goals. So
awesome. And I want to go ahead and take it to you next, Curtis. How about you?
So it's a hard one between one and two things. But I would definitely say though, wanting to emulate and be like my grandfather is a big thing, right? Because as far as back as I can remember, he's the main person that I always emulated, right? I love wearing hats because my grandfather wore hats and just other things. And so for me, I only began cooking cooking briskets and barbecues because since I couldn't tell you knee high to a butterfly, I was around him like butchering, whether it was goats or getting from his chickens or, and then just doing the barbecue and the brisket for family events. So me wanting to be like him, and he was like 85 at the time. And so he passed away like early last March at 90. Just like me, just wanting to just somebody to pass the torch to whenever for our own family events. Just so happened that I'm pretty good at it, right? At it. He showed me my way around my smoker and my pit. He showed me how to control my fire and stuff like that. But after a time or two that he helped me, it's in me. It isn't on me. It's just something that I have a clock for. I can just do it because I woke up today. The stuff I went to, I went to Le Cordon Bleu. I learned a lot of stuff, although my family cooked anyway, but school definitely helped. But a lot of it is just trusting my instincts. And so it work because you have to put in the physical labor, but it's kind of what I do. I just trust myself. So it's easy. And wanting to be like him got me here. And it was the road, the beginning of the journey.
Awesome. No, and that will, I'm sure you'll carry that on, and that may be the same thing that, is the thing that, crafts your child, your grandkid, may share that same story with you. So that's awesome.
I definitely hope so, and just with for me, like the legacy of who comes behind me, my goal is to have them understand that they just need to be the best versions of them. And
right.
A company, it's a space, whether you're cooking, whether you're DJing, whether you are whatever kind of creative person you are, I want and just do what they do and take it to a next level, because my level here is the food is the base. But that's the foundation. But that doesn't mean who's coming behind me has to be a chef. I just need them and desire for them to be the best version of themselves, whatever that looks like. And that should take the company to a different way and project it in a different way that I could never envision.
Awesome. Let's hear from you, Calvin.
Following up that emotional one is, that's a bit much. But I was thinking about the question, and I think it's the one word. I think discipline is really it, right? Because as Jamarlon was saying, he's really committed to the idea of just not failing. It doesn't matter what that is, whether he's changing a tire or cooking with Curtis, right? He's like, I may not be a formally trained chef, and I'm gonna stick with it. I think I have that same desire, and I think that discipline is what separates it, because there's a lot of people who start at the same time. They just never end at the same place, and I think you just have to be almost downright mean about your goals. Like, this is it. I have no other option except to succeed. And even when you get to a point what looks like what most people would call success, having to find something else within yourself only requires discipline in order to go to the next level, because it's no longer about you. So I think that the one thing, if I had to draw a thread between all of it, I think it's discipline. You have to have discipline in order to get any of it done. Most people start a lot of stuff, but they never finish, right?
Very true.
There's tons of unfinished dreams just laying around, right? Scattered out.
Right.
The discipline is what separates it. Even if it's trash, you produce it, you finish it, it does something for you, right? That drive to just move to the next thing that you have going. And you kind of finish, in your mind, right? You kind of let go. You don't feel cluttered. You got all these unfinished ideas. I think that the discipline is what separates it.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. This is good stuff, guys. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move into relationships and talk about that. So relationships can, have a direct impact, whether it's, good or bad. Has any of the relationships impacted your success? And if so, how? Positive, it's a negative, was it a mixture of both? I'm going to go ahead and let you take that, Jamarlon, first.
Okay, well, for me, I just recall my first marriage, just having the ambition in the beginning and just having my partner not fully with me on my push. And it would seem like it was kind of like an anchor on my leg, because I felt like with a partner that was pushing me to be the best I could be, there was nothing else for me to do but be the best I can be. But having to pacify her and worry more about the relationship rather than just follow my dreams, that became a burden to me, and ultimately, ended the relationship. So when I entered a new relationship and I felt, that my partner was, like my biggest fan and just always pushed me to be the best. Oh, I'm excelling now. It's a night and day difference. So it's definitely detrimental to a relationship to have a partner who's not all the way on board with you.
Okay, definitely. I agree. So I'm looking at you, Curtis. So what are your thoughts on that? Or what, how can you speak to that about the relationships in your past or current, that have impacted your success or in a positive or negative way?
Um, I think that it definitely makes a difference. Having other that's supportive of whatever you have going on,
Yeah.
because it just changes the dynamic of it, right? And when I started my business, not long after that, I was in a relationship, kind of back in a relationship with the young lady that I had been dating before, and so she was supportive in her own way, right? The issue that I had in the beginning, it was me. It wasn't her not being supportive. It was me not allowing her to be in the space, because I would be like asking, like my family cooks, so I'm asking my mom to do something, or my sister to do something, or my business partner to do something, and she's there, but I'm not inclusive of her, right? And so that's an issue when you're telling someone that this is for us, but then you're not including them into the situation.
Right.
And then she did the things that I completely have the mental capacity to do, but I just didn't want to do, or didn't want to take the time to learn how to do. Like, she did my first website, and I didn't ask her to do that. You know what I'm saying? Or she made, like, if I did meal prep, I told her what I wanted, and she offered to make the menus. But at some time, if you see someone engaging other people, you're going to wonder why. If they're telling you this is for us, why aren't they engaging you? Why do you have to be proactive? So
right, like where's the instruction? It's not coming.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started off with the woman that was, like, hey, I'm here, let me help you, and not allowing her into my space. So, and then I have an issue, something that I know I'm challenged with is working on, just asking for help, right?
Right.
And so I'm better with that now, but that was detrimental to my relationship, so I've seen it, and then I've dated women that weren't supportive and don't understand that it takes time and all this stuff. And I'm in the culinary industry, so Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, when everybody else is hanging out and partying, the hospitality industry, we're cooking, we're serving, we're doing something in that industry. So everybody, the women don't understand that, you know what I'm saying? Or a lot don't. So have to be very, communicate and let them know what it is, and have them have an understanding of what time looks like in your world. And communication works anyway, right? We need that in our relationships. We have to be willing to be vulnerable in the way we communicate. If we want to let someone in or be in someone else's space, we have to be somewhat vulnerable to get there to start with.
Right, definitely. Okay. And Agile, how about you? You've been at this for a long time.
The streets are paved with, failures in that area, and a lot of successes. Well, I don't want to say a lot. I didn't take that many people, but the the time, I think, is probably the biggest thing, is because most people, their time is managed for them. Meaning, if you have to go into an office, or if you have to do something, your time is managed, right? Your children go to school at a certain time. Your time is managed for you. You're an entrepreneur, it just changes everything. And so the relationship dynamic, when you choose that person, a conversation that simple is like, some people want to go to bed next to each other, right? This is something. So these
that's true.
things will really
That could be an issue.
they don't even know it's a problem before you enter their life, and you guys start working together, and you're like, wow, man, this is really bothering them, and they didn't even know that it was a thing before. There's a song about Eric Roberson, I think it's called Deaf Ears. He talks about it. He met a lady at a show, right? And she loved him, like loved everything about his music and all of this. But eventually she ended up hating it because she saw how other women perceived it and all that. So that's another part of it, is that sometimes what success looks like for them is kind of like, well, do you need more? What are you doing this for? You're taking on more stuff. You already don't have time. So that within itself can create like a monster. And not necessarily that they started that way, but you just are triggering things people didn't know were a part of them. So, to answer the question more directly, like, the person you're dealing with, and does it impact your relationship? Absolutely. They have to be built or be willing to forego what really is you defining your own life. Most people, if
Right.
they really think about it, their lives are not defined by them. They kind of do something that they were, maybe got into happenstance. I did these couple things and then this kind of worked out. But
Right.
do something and to choose to do a certain thing, like Curtis is saying, like this is a family thing, right? He was born into it. So um,
Right.
for someone to be like, I mean, but you could do something else, or you should spend less time doing it. That's an area of conflict, so it has a real impact
Definitely.
on your
Yeah.
relationship. Um, but for me, it's always a matter of time. Not having time, it's just how you spend it. Like, I heard once that one Saturday night is worth like 10,000 Tuesdays. So,
Mm.
just to do those things and go over your
Man,
friends' plates and, man, those things really affect people. And there's like these tiny, what is death by a thousand cuts? That's kind of how
Mm.
it works.
Yeah.
You really have to be in tune, meaning the person who's dating the entrepreneur. Be it, it works the other way for men too. You really have to be in tune with, is this something you can undergo? Because it definitely changes the dynamics of the relationship. And,
Definitely.
hurting people, and there was nothing really wrong.
No, yeah, that's definitely true. I reflect on that a lot, just because of, what it is that I like to do. I have a big personality, socialite, love to network, and just with my purpose and all, I have to, once I became more aware, I realized, okay, can't just date anybody. Some men are like, no, I like that you're bubbly and stuff, but I only want you to be bubbly here, with me. I don't want you networking and, I see it on both sides, like when a person has their socialite and they have that type of career where they're interacting with, the opposite sex and their partner is like, why do you got to do that all the time? And why you got to go out so much? And, and it's like, well, that's a part of building the business and, letting people know about what you're doing. And so that's going to be critical. And if you're not comfortable or secure, with yourself, or you just have a whole different dream, and vision for, your life, it's not going to work, and for me, I'm definitely down with, the submission process with my partner. But like I tell anybody else is that you choose who it is that you want to submit to. And if you and that person, his vision is aligned or your vision is aligned with his, then it's not going to be a problem because y'all on the same page, so it's very important. Agile, you're kind of a little bit low. I don't know for sure if you can raise your volume a little bit
Still
for
low.
us.
I can raise it up, raise it. Is that better?
Yes.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Turned it
Yeah,
down.
I didn't want to go too long. I was like, is it just me or what?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Awesome. 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 So for our fourth question, do you select your partner based on success or your potential success? And yeah, go ahead and answer that. I don't think I need to explain it too much.
Yeah. Um, yes, you have no choice because you are who you are, and
Mm,
you've committed to an idea, concept, whatever it is, you've committed to it. So you're putting that energy out. So you're going to meet people who are either all the way with it or directly opposed to it. And there really
mm,
is no middle ground. You don't kind of meet people who are not like in the same world or people that just hate it or say they hate it so much. Like, but
mm.
yeah, it's you. I mean, you're going to do the things. Curtis is going to be out, right? Shopping for wholesale food items, right? He's going to be at the market. That's where he's going to meet people, right? That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, Marlon's going to be at an event, right? He's going to be at a concert or at Coachella, right? That's where he's going to be. So he's going to meet people in those spaces. I don't think Jamal is going to be out like, in Oregon, you know what I mean? Like hanging out with some hippie. Like that's just not his space. Or, it's not my space. And there's no places to hang around. But the things that I do and the places that I go, you meet people who are at least somewhere in that orbit. So yeah, you have to, but that doesn't mean they're as committed to the idea as you are.
Well,
Like,
yeah, because
Right.
what I'm speaking about is kind of like more so the status, your status of where you're at, meaning, and I hear from some men, they're like, well, no, men are more realistic. They're looking at where they're at, and so they they select based on what they, believe that they can have based on where they're at. And, but I think that that's not, always the case because, there's different men, different perspectives. So we wanted to kind of touch on that, but that makes a lot of sense, as far as where you're at, the kind of, I guess your environment, certain things that you're doing, you're not gonna, if this is not your type, like you're typically not gonna, run into a person that's not, into the same things if you're vested in whatever it is that you're doing, because you're gonna do things that help you get there.
Now, from a financial side of things, I don't know if that matters so much.
Hmm.
Now, it matters from the perspective of, if you meet somebody and you have a lot, and their idea of, something simple like money, their idea of it is just to spend, then that's
Hmm.
probably not really aligned with if your idea is using
Right.
it for leverage for other things, right? So, you're just kind of not the same in that way,
Hmm.
but that's kind of like who you are. But I don't think that has anything to do with what you have. I mean, there's people who have a lot who are terrible money managers, right?
Right.
That's
Right.
where you get
That's true.
so
That's true.
I don't know if what they have is as important as how they think, and that's kind of what I was talking about, like people in your circle, because it's like the number itself doesn't matter. That's going to change.
Right.
Um,
It's
how
just
you
about,
go.
are you how you manage it, like you might be wealthy and it may be just important that not it's important that your partner is wealthy, but she knows what to do and how to manage the wealth that you guys have. So she's not all reckless and you're like, what is going on? Like, like my bank account is empty, like what are you
Right.
doing? Like that's gonna matter. So,
So the number to me doesn't matter. The number doesn't matter. I mean, I think
right.
there's a lot of gray space there too. I mean, it can't be like
Mm.
severely or dramatically different, right? Because it's just things you're just not exposed to, right?
Right.
Uh,
That's true.
I don't go to certain places for dinner, right? I just don't eat that. So,
Right.
that might be a thing. You know what I mean? I just certain things you just
Right.
wouldn't eat, um, and that's on either side, right? So, I ain't want to call a restaurant name, but yeah, I think that kind of stuff matters. But that's just culture too, like
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, let's talk about that good food. Um, Curtis, Curtis, what are your thoughts on that? So basically, I'll reread the question. Do you
Mhm.
select your partner based on your success or your potential success?
Um, Not really, because no matter where I'm at, as far as what I'm looking for in a woman, it has nothing to do with my level of success. I'm looking for
Mhm.
something that's going to be compatible with me and what I desire.
Okay.
As important as money is for living here in America, the truth is money's it's easier than other things. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Easier to make money than to be intimately vulnerable with the person. I know a lot of
Mhm.
people that make a lot of money, but they don't even have an intimate relationship with themselves. Better yet, their wife or their husband or whatever that
Mhm.
looks like for them.
Yeah.
So at this point, I probably would have said something different if you asked me this maybe 5 years ago, or years
Okay.
ago, right? At 30, I'm 37 now, so maybe this answer would be different then. But now, the biggest thing that I desire with the woman is a woman that has an intimate relationship with herself, and that's
Mm.
have $100 in my pocket or $1 million in my pocket. Like that's very important to me at this point in time. Like, that's one of the biggest things that I look for. So it has nothing to do with my financial situation or hers. Um,
Mhm.
because I think it's certain things that once you get right within yourself, the
Mhm.
your relationship with money, I would hope would change. And my view,
Mhm.
my perspective on money is it's very broad and it has nothing to do with what I look for in a woman.
Okay. Okay.
At least it doesn't change that anyway.
Right, right, right. And so, yeah, this question, I thought it was a great question because a lot of times, well, on the other side of it, as a woman, you'll hear
Right.
men talk about some of the women that they may complain about women not being realistic as it pertains to, picking a partner, or thinking like, okay, I need
Right.
to be with a partner who is, I'm a business owner and I make X, Y amount of money and he needs to make this. It's just like, well, that's not necessarily what's going to make your relationship be, a healthy relationship or not, because at the same time, men are not thinking like that because they're not worried about, they're known and raised to be providers and protectors. So they're not worried about finding a wife who's, able to provide, or protect them. That's not, on their list of concerns.
Right.
So
I would say that some of us care, and it definitely makes her life easier if she understands what comes with it. So if she's an entrepreneur herself, that makes it a little easier because it's more empathy and understanding. So there's definitely things that help weigh that, as when we look at the overall view of what I'm looking for in a woman that I'm dating. But I would say the intimate thing is more, it's way higher on that list. Everything else for me comes underneath that. So the things that you're saying, definitely, like for me, I look to be taking care of most of the responsibilities myself anyway. But a woman carries her own weight, and whatever that looks like, especially if she does financially. I mean, that's great. That's a beautiful thing, and it's to building something. If you're looking into building like legacies and things of that nature, so it's definitely a plus. And it's on there, it's somewhere there. But like I say, there's one that outweighs everything completely for me at this point.
Okay.
Can I add something to that? I had this realization in my adult life and business, in that I don't think most people realize there's two things. One, you should definitely ask the person what they think it means, like the word rich, what they think it means. And I think like get very specific about a number, how much you should have, like before you start being like, oh, I'm rich. Like ask them what that looks like, because that if y'all are miles apart, then you know what I mean. That's a little.
It's like it's not rich at
That
all.
makes sense.
The second part of it is like for an entrepreneur, you can be, say for example, you're doing a deal, right? A deal could be $5-10 million, right? You could literally be cash poor, like have no money, right? You're buying a building, whatever it is that you're doing, you could be cash poor. So a person who made whatever, right, could help you through that space, right? You're just talking about the basics, like, going to dinner or whatever that thing is, but you could literally like be in a position, everything's escrow, you can't spend anything, you can't do anything until you close the deal. These are realistic things. So it's not the money there, it's the support, right? So I don't think, and I think everybody's saying the same thing, like the number kind of becomes irrelevant because it doesn't matter how much she has.
Right.
If she turns to be like, I mean, it's $10 million. Why don't you just, get it from somebody else? That kind of thing. Like,
Right.
The support associated with it. So I think it's more about the other stuff that comes with it, because I don't think the number really.
So it's more so about the mentality matching where you're at, as far as
ask them what rich looks like, because you get to a certain point, they'd be like, "Yo, just start going crazy," because they think that's the mountaintop. Right? So
right.
That mentality is real. Like you have to ask those questions.
Very important. Jamarlin, I see you smiling. What about yourself? In building your success, you've been doing this for a long time. I've seen the girlfriends, come, and I've been there through the marriage, right? So, so what would you say about, when you were selecting, your partner, throughout that, as you were building your success? Did you, was that something that you, consider? Were you thinking of it based on where you were at in life or where you were going?
I just cared and desired to be equally yoked with my partner, and my foundation is God. So I believe, if I seek him, then all things will be added to me. So I never really worried about what a person was doing, as long as they have their mind facing forward and we can build together, you know what I mean? Because again, I'm not rich, you know what I mean? But I'm a brother with a dream. So if my lady has a dream, then I will be there to help support that as she supports mine. So, we'll build together, you know what I mean? So that's my main focus when I was in the selecting process. So let me be clear, I'm very much taken. So,
you're not on the market.
Yeah. And I'm actually just having the time of my life with with the support, of my
Yes.
lady.
Yes.
It's like a dream, for her to tell me you need to walk in your purpose, and whatever that is. If you're supposed to be or if you aspire to be a garbage man, then be the best one you could be. Like, that's her mindset. And thank God I'm not a garbage man. So, whatever I put my mind to going forward, I'm gonna give it my all, and she'll make sure that I'm not slacking. So yeah, it's just the teamwork effort for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. It sounds like you all are on the same page, and that's the best part about it, is that you can, through your experience, your different experiences, you can basically kind of come to the same conclusion of what is important, and it's so good for myself and other ladies to be able to hear that, so that we can, instead of assuming or thinking that y'all's perspective is similar to ours, it's not.
I'll tell you this, in my previous relationship, and I'm sure it had to be the cultural difference, but she expected me to just automatically have everything. And I'm like, not understanding, like, you have to start somewhere. And if you're not,
especially when you get together young,
if you're not helping me or pushing me, you think because I'm a man, I don't need help, So we had a disconnect there, I don't think not one person has solely made it happen on their own. Like Brother Curtis said, his grandpa showed him the ropes. And of course it was in him, not on him, so that helped. But still, we all need, somebody there with us to help us get over it.
Most definitely.
Yeah. If you have a solid woman, oh man.
Makes it a lot easier.
Hey, get you one fast if you don't have one.
Get you one.
All you got to do is love them, and the rest is history.
True, it's true. Well, okay. And to the audience, if you guys have questions, we have quite a few questions here that have been sent in from a lot of the ladies. You guys have a question that you would like to ask to our participants here, then just go ahead and throw it in the chat. I'm eyeballing it here and there. So that's what I'm doing when I'm looking over. Don't think I'm being rude, y'all. And so we're going to get into the questions, some of the questions that the ladies sent in. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So from JD, Miss Moore, she has a few questions. So her first question is, why do you date women that you don't see a future with? It's hard. Is it hard to tell a woman that you're not interested? So Curtis, go ahead and take that. Tell us what you think. Why do men do that?
Is it hard to tell a woman that they're not interested in her in that kind of way?
Well, yeah, I mean, the question is why do you date someone that you don't see a future with? Why would a man do that?
Men could do that for several different reasons, right? I mean, I guess in the beginning is because we don't know if we're interested in you or not, on what level, right? We have to get to know you, and that takes time, right? And that's relative for all of us. So I might feel like I need 30, 3 months to get to know you. The other guy might feel like he needs a year,
Right.
Maybe then the truth is maybe I don't really see a future in us, really growing and building anything together, but I might be physically attracted to you. You might be fun.
Okay.
Fun space. Now, obviously, if to be honest with the woman and let her know what you want with her and allow her to make her own decision works out better, in the bigger scheme of things. Women, y'all, when men are honest with y'all tend to accept that better than I think that most men understand that y'all will. I could definitely say that, and of course that doesn't mean that she's going to like it, but understanding that if we tell her what we want from her, she's either going to be with it or she's not, you know what I'm saying? And then, but the fact that you don't waste her time and don't lie to her and don't play with her, she's going to respect that as you as a man. And so whatever she feels like she wants that relationship to be, she might still love on you, right? So whether she can build your website or can refer you business to a friend or whatever, she's not going to stop doing that because things don't work out when you've been upfront with her. And then she might for a while, right? But she'll come back, and at the end of the day, when she gets out her feelings, she'll respect you because she decided to go forward with that decision you made with her. If she's just a fun space for you. But is that a lot of us are selfish. I think at some point we've all been selfish, and we've strung women along, and women string men along. It's not a man or a woman thing. It's a person thing. And I think it's very, it takes a lot of growth to get there. But, there's different reasons. But like I say, it just, one is, sometimes people want to keep the woman around to have some fun with her, right? And so on. But then sometimes, I guess people just disappear these days, no text, no calls, stop responding, so, and I don't know why people don't communicate. Some don't feel the need to, and some just don't care probably.
I guess so. Adjo, what do you think about this? Why do men do this? Like, and we know that you guys you don't speak for all men, but just giving that perspective, that advice to these ladies. They really want to know, why is it that, men will date some woman and that they don't see any future in? Does it have to do with them not being able to let them down, or not?
Yeah, I don't think the letting down part is a thing. Like, I don't think that's a thing. I think men are okay with that. I think so. First of all, Curtis killed it with just saying you have to be honest in that. But honesty in that way, if you can generalize, like, majority of the time you meet somebody, women, at least the ones I've known, have already kind of crafted an idea of where this thing is going in their head after.
I agree with that one.
So when you use honesty and it doesn't line up with that original idea, it takes a little time for her to really, match two together. And so she may try to shift that, and you may have already been honest. She just didn't hear where you were, or, it's like, hey, I don't really want to hang out, or, whatever that thing is. She may think you just need time because, remember, this idea is still brewing. Like, if not now, then maybe, in the future. So what may feel like being strung along sometimes is not always being strung along. Sometimes, I've literally had women say, like, when? Like, you try to be like, I'm not really interested right now. You're like, then when?
Right. They're like, give it to me, tell me, so I can kind of, I can either be goo goo gaga over you or plan something else.
How long you gonna be going through it? Like, you're gonna just call back. So obviously people abuse people. That's a thing for various reasons. Some people you just like hanging out with, right? You just like their company. Right. It may not be, you could just be cool with them. I've literally been fussed out or cussed out. Like, you're wasting my time. I'm like, you're cool. Like, I like
right. That's right.
Don't just hang out with men. It's like, there's women that are like, you hang out, but some people, that's their boundary, and you have to respect it. The truth is not as clear as the question puts it. Like, oh, just tell them, like, hey, you know what? I'm probably gonna talk to you for 3 months, and then I'm being interested. You don't know this in advance, and when you get to that moment where you do, you can't just be like, this was cool, but I'm wasting your time at this point. Like, who's having that conversation? Well,
I think that's the opportunity too for us ladies, to tell each other the truth, and an opportunity for us to be accountable, in that aspect. Ask the questions. Don't just wait, hoping maybe he'll say something about this, or maybe he'll say something about that. Just kind of be clear of what it is that you want to do, and ask him what it is that
do. We typically, as men, if you're not the one that we're really pursuing, we typically have that question when she asks, because someone is right. We're not gonna bring that up if that's not what we want with her. Typically.
So if it's asked, you're saying that you guys would be open to answering it, or are you saying that you avoid it? Not you, but
Yeah, it depends on the guy, right? It's not. Yeah. It's all.
Where exactly?
It's a hard generalization because that's all depending on the person that you're dealing with. Some are gonna be honest with you, and then some are gonna tell you what you want to hear. So you just never know what you're gonna get from when you ask that question.
Okay.
Too, everybody, just because you want to date somebody at the time. I, and one of my friends said this, and I think it's like one of the most real statements. It's like every guy is not a husband and or boyfriend, and every woman isn't a wife or girlfriend. Like,
Right.
Right.
you want something doesn't mean you're even capable of it in that time, right? So he
That's
may
true.
not be wasting your time. You just may not be capable at that time, and you have to be honest with yourself. Like, sometimes you're just not that person for anybody at that time. You need to like get yourself together. So
That's true. Gotta
yeah,
be honest
Agreed.
and real
Agreed.
aware of that. So Jamarlin, what would you say? What about yourself? What about
Well, for me, just taking time to get to know myself,
Mhm.
and as I did the work on myself, I realized that there's seasons in a relationship. So
Mhm.
if you're trying to rush one season and it's not that time, then nothing will work in
Mhm.
that time, you know. So if you're willing to do the work and go through the motions, you know,
Mhm.
you'll reap, you know, the benefits in the end. But if you're trying to, say we have winter, spring, summer, fall, you're trying to do winter stuff in summer, it's not gonna work, you know. So
Mhm.
a lot of
So
people
it's yeah,
a
go
lot of
ahead.
people are not aware of this though. So, you know,
Mhm.
again, you can't see the end when you're in the beginning, you know. And
Right.
if you meet somebody that's talking about they want to marry you in the first 2 months and they haven't even seen, you know, how you celebrate Christmas or whatnot, you know, I don't know, you know.
No,
So
Right.
that's a good point. It's like
yeah,
you don't know,
you
like
don't know. Yeah,
so it's not necessarily that, you're
yeah,
dating this person and wasting their time. It's just like
right.
I'm still trying to learn you and figure
Yeah,
out,
you're
you
learning.
know, who you are. And that's gonna look different
Mhm.
to different men, right? Because
Yeah.
the time frames is you might, like I'm not for sure who stated that in the beginning. Was it you, Curtis? About, the different time frames about
Right.
how soon you get comfortable with the person or feel like you know them.
Right. You said, yeah, one person might need 90 days, one person
Hmm.
may need that year, like you said, winter, spring, summer, and fall. Like it
Yeah, yeah,
depends on the
Need to
person.
see all the seasons.
yeah. But you have to be aware though, and if a person is trying to rush you in something, then those are red
Mhm.
flags in themselves because they don't even know for themselves how they're going to be with you, you know,
Right.
down the road. You know,
That's true.
they might see you grow chin hairs and not like that and want to end the relationship.
Like, I don't
You
really
know,
like you. I don't like you in the wintertime. You need that
yeah.
humidity.
So you know, you have to go through something to know if you could make it or not. You know,
Yeah,
Right.
I
because
feel it.
a lot of people are one argument away from, you know, separation anyway. So you
Mm,
know, if you have a strong foundation, you can make it through anything. But you have to
right,
build that. Like it's not automatic. So
for
if
sure.
ladies can be patient and men can be patient together and learn each other, then you can build something worth lasting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, Nicole is going to move on. Nicole has a question. We're going to pull one from the audience. She says that as a successful man, what is your aptitude for your partner making mistakes and forgiving? Wait, and you forgiving?
oh, I think that don't have nothing to
I'll
do with
go first. I'll go first. Just
Okay.
having grace. You got to have grace for them. So if you don't have any grace for them, how can they have grace for you? You know, we're not perfect. We're gonna make mistakes. So if you pride yourself on being perfect, then man, that's the big red flag right there because nobody's perfect. So
Yeah,
we're gonna make mistakes. We're just learning how to deal with them. And you know, forgiving is everything. You know,
for sure. For
yeah.
sure. Okay, so I heard someone getting they had a they had an answer as well. I couldn't see who it was. Oh, or here it
I
was.
was saying that's boundaries. Like that's
Found it.
yeah. I mean, a person makes a mistake, you forgive them as you would, regardless to your status. Like the two are not related. Who you are
Mhm.
outside your home and who you are, that's not the same.
Mm.
Was it Chris Rock said his kids don't think he's funny. You're
Right.
not the same person. Like, They're just not the same person. So if you forgive people and you're a caring person, you'll do it regardless to who,
Right.
to the outside world.
Right. Now that makes sense. But there are some people who are like that, and they get to feel themselves and, ego and things like
Yeah.
that. They're like, listen, if you don't want to act right, you could be gone. There's some people who are like that and they gotta bump their head a little bit. So what would you say, Curtis? What
Um,
about that question?
I'm agreeing with the other gentleman on the panel, man. You have to be forgiving, because we all make mistakes. We all do things, that the other person may not agree with.
Right.
And so, you just, how I'm looking at my business isn't like how I'm looking, as making a mistake over here or over here. And at the end of the day, they should all be lessons, one and the same, just one in your relationship and one in your business relationship.
Right.
Being open-minded, talking about something. If you don't like something that happened, man, you got to have a conversation and just clear the air with it, But yeah, I don't believe in like being like hard up because she made a mistake or something. Like for me, that's crazy because I mess up as well. We just got to learn from it.
Right. And you're gonna want that forgiveness when it's your turn, right?
Right. I would rather ask for forgiveness than for permission. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So I can't expect, I can't expect not to give forgiveness if I'm going to want it or probably need it one day.
No, I hear you. Okay, so Marie, let's see. Maurice asked one experience of hers after talking or dating someone for a year. I'd ask where were we at, or where were we are, and the guy's answer then eventually came to say they saw me as a friend, but it took me asking. Oh, okay. So basically saying you're dealing with someone for a year. She's dealing with this guy for a year, and she had to ask, okay, so what are we, like, where are we at, and then they, told her that they just seen her as a friend. But it took her having to ask him. Like, he didn't do it on his own. He didn't go out of his way to be upfront and honest as this year is progressing.
Can I answer that? My first thing I want to say is that women friend zone men way more than we friend zone y'all.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
The difference is we typically figure it out faster because we're wanting to get physical and y'all don't want to get physical. So we're gonna, at some point, the man's gonna pressure to take things to another level. We figure we're friend zone. But if they get a quote unquote nice guy that they can get to spend money and date them and do the things they like, they'll keep that guy around and take advantage of that situation for a while. Not all women, but some will. So I guess the thing is I guess she should have asked before, but it happens. She probably seen some red flags. she could have asked before. If you want to know something, then you closed mouths don't get fed, right? At all. So if there's something that you know or want to know, you just have to be honest with yourself first, and then take it to that person and so y'all can figure it out together what that looks like, right?
Right.
So I mean, the best thing you could do. I think her name was Marie, yeah. Marie, you got to ask earlier. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Ask early. So, well, I mean, as a woman, I think that's a situation. I mean, it just depends on who you are. I'm pretty vocal, but as far as we were just talking about that time frame, how it's different for different men, what that looks like, them getting to know you. So, it's not about them wasting your time. It's just, it takes different things, or different amounts of time for different men. So if that's the case, and it takes this man a year for him to figure it out, but someone else would have took 3 months. If she goes to ask in 3 months, 4 months, he might be like, dang, like, I'm still trying to get to know you, so.
Well, but at least she knew where he stood, right? And
Okay.
well, right now, I see there's some potential. I mean, I want to continue to date you, but I don't want to be exclusive, or I don't, whatever that looks like from
Right.
that man. At least you understand where he's standing at with you.
Right. Because he'll have an idea if he's not playing around. Right.
Right. And at that point in time, you can either take it or leave it. You don't, you know what I'm saying? And what you want to do with that information.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if you're being intentional, then you'll get to your end goal faster. If you're in this situation trying to get a partner, a man, a boyfriend, an exclusive relationship, then you let that be known and you carry yourself accordingly. But if he's trying to play the field, then that's not the brother for you. If you're trying to switch his gears and switch his intentions, then you have an uphill battle because he's already not feeling you like that, and you're trying to make him. So you're only hurting yourself.
Or waiting and just hoping like, okay, well, maybe things are
you hurting yourself. Ain't no waiting for somebody who ain't wanting you.
Exactly. Okay.
Taking your time.
Heard it from the brothers.
Yeah.
You guys hear me?
Adja. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I think it's also a little bit passive aggressive too, right? So you ask for your own promotion. Like, if you feel like you've been killing it for a year and you're like, it took him a year to say something. I mean, at some point you're looking out for yourself. So why didn't you just say, hey, I think we should be at this point? If he says, no, I don't think so, then now you have your answer. Because it's like, what does he put it on his calendar? Like, yeah, when I see her on Saturday, I'm gonna tell her.
Right.
Like, there's no absolute date. He, as a guy, you might be easygoing. You might just be like, I mean, it's not where I thought, but it was cool in the beginning, so maybe it'll get better. So you just never know if you're too soon. So I don't think there's like a cutoff. Like, it took him a year. No, you guys were dating for a year. So when you felt like you wanted a promotion, you asked for it, and he was like,
he was like, not yet. You haven't tried.
You should find a new employer. You know what I mean? But it's
exactly. No, that's real talk. I mean, because when you're being intentional, and that's the thing. That's why it takes two in all of this. With a relationship, it's both people are responsible. So if you're being intentional, as a woman, ladies, if we're being intentional, we're saying, okay, this is what I want. This is what I see for my life, and I'm setting this in stone that I'm not going to be dating someone for 3 years, or 5 years and no talk about, a lifelong commitment. If that's what you want, you have to speak up and be vocal about it and let them know I'm dating with intentions for marriage or intentions for whatever it is, and if you're just having a good time and he's having a good time, then that's it. If something changes, y'all can come back to the drawing board.
When do you say that? Like, everybody's like, somebody should have done it, but at what moment? What are you doing? What are y'all physically doing in that moment? You're like, nah, this ain't it. Like, nobody says it. You have to be there with them, and you know what I mean? The amount of calls change and all that stuff, right? So there's no one moment, there's no right or wrong. She learned when she learned, but that was a year. That doesn't mean they didn't have a good time in that year. She was just curious, right?
Right. And if she stuck around from a year, it must have been something,
right?
Like my man is saying, like, you dated this man for a year. So there had to be something good coming from it, I would think, if you gave him your time for a year.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to say time is wasted if you were and enjoying those moments, because you could have always done something else with your time if you had chosen to.
True. Very true. Because you could say if you were hanging out. Oh, I'm sorry, Jamarlin. Go ahead.
I was just thinking, it popped in my head. If a woman acts like a wife, then that's what she'll become. If she acts like a girlfriend, then that's what she'll become. So if you carry yourself like a wife, you might not be his wife, but you'll be somebody's wife. So if you act accordingly, then you'll attract what you are. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you let somebody play with your time, they will.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And if they're getting wife treatment and they're being a boyfriend, then who's losing? you know?
Right. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. This one is kind of, I guess it's kind of similar, but the question is, what is expected? Wait, what is the expectation for a woman to wait or stick around when a man usually leave when it's no longer beneficial? Do you think women should be more in tune with their worth and walk away from it the moment she doesn't get her heart's desires? So I guess it's kind of like what we were just talking about. But if you guys have anything that you would like to add to that from what we were talking about, because I think
Highly personal. That sounds very.
Yeah.
huh?
I can't say that that's all women's experience. That sounds
Right. If she
Yeah.
loved that man, wait for him. Wait for him.
I'm not
Okay.
gonna give no advice. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that sounds very
I'm
personal.
like, would you give that advice to your daughter?
Nah. We talk about my
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, when you're sticking around, what is the expectation for a woman to wait and stick around? Well, I mean, I think I'm going to go ahead and kind of take that, what we're talking about. Yes, it's important for, women to be in tune and know your worth. That's your responsibility. Yours. Yeah. It's not his responsibility. He's going to determine what you're worth and make the decision if he's going to be with you and commit to you or marry you or not. As far as yourself, you need to know what your worth is, so you know what you're going to deal with. So just in case he's, just having a good time and not being upfront with you, then you know how much that you can take. So you're not at the end of the day saying that you wasted my time. It's like, well, no, you're wasting your time because you didn't know your worth and you were allowing this person to just take up that time when you could have been doing something to either better yourself or spending it with someone who actually values and appreciates you.
Hey, Vaughn, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Have you ever met a woman who did not think she was a wife or a girlfriend?
Yes, I have just because I talk talk to a lot of different women from different backgrounds and different experiences, and some women who need some guidance. There's a lot actually out there and, are hurt. And so they don't really see themselves that way, and so they do settle because no one's told them, from their, childhood, just their upbringing, no one's told them that they're worth it, and that they're valuable and stuff like that. So yeah, I have.
And see if I can kind of bring this full circle from what I'm thinking right now. First off, that's and when I'm saying that I'm looking for a woman that has an intimate relationship with herself, sure, understanding your own worth, because it's as a man, it's my job to understand and know who I am and what I'm and my value. And it doesn't really matter what V or Calvin or Jamarlin thinks about me. It just matters what I think about me. So as a woman, she has to have an intimate relationship with herself, know what she's worth for herself. And like my man Marlon said, is to carry yourself and act like a wife. And when you're intentional and acting like a wife, if he's not giving you what you want, then that's at that point in time, you have to figure out, is he when I come to him and bring conversation to him, do I get the answer that I want? Do I love him? Does it make sense for me to still be here? Or do I need to go do something else that's better for me? Right. And so intimate relationship with yourself helps you decide who you're going to, decide how you're going to carry yourself no matter who you're dealing with, and for how long you're going to allow and be around different things. So that's not a man. You know what I'm saying? That's all about that. That's a question that should be asked to the woman asking it, looking it in the mirror. She needs to put that right here and have that conversation with herself, because she has to evaluate her own self-worth and understand what's for her and what's not for her, and what she's willing to accept and what she's not.
That's right. No, that's right. I totally agree with what you're saying, Curtis. It is what it is, but and you have to, if you're not there, you gotta seek that help or do different things to motivate yourself and to become more self-aware. And I mean, anything you don't like, you can change it. But we have someone that Let me see if he is here. He had something to add. Ricardo, are you here?
Says he's connecting.
Okay, he's connecting. Okay. Okay. Well, while we are, okay. Well, I'm going to move on to another question, and then we'll come back and see if Ricardo has been able to get in here. Yeah, the audience is loving what you guys are saying, so they're feeling y'all's perspective. Said it's a great panel, and I'm like, yeah, it really is, it really is. Okay, so, why do men shut down when the conversation isn't going their way?
If you try to out talk, and I'm speaking for me, I'm originally from Mississippi. I spent all my adult life in Atlanta.
Okay.
And, I've traveled all around the world, and all of the black women who I've met, I wouldn't try to out talk or compete on that level with them. So not saying something is sometimes until you have the opportunity. And some people prevail too, right? So arguing for no reason is just, nobody's listening anyways when you do argue, right? So
Right.
shutting down may appear like that, but most of the time when people say you're shutting down, they just talk for a long period of time and you have no time to process it, right? So you're just there. You're the victim at this point because you're just listening, taking in things you didn't know. I don't think it's always shutting down. Other times, these are triggers too, right? People get pushed. So, that may be a positive in the moment. So it's not always I always try to look at it a different way, a more positive way. Sometimes it's give it the opportunity for the person to respond versus,
Sure.
tonight. Like most things are not worked out the same day. Most things.
Right. No, I hear you. Does anyone else want to take that or speak to that?
Can you repeat the question one more time? For
sure. So why do you think, or why do men shut down when the conversation isn't going their way?
I think sometimes it's because if you're lying, and you're caught on your lie, what else can you say, Or it's just a sign of immaturity. Like once you're mature enough and you're in a space where you're open enough to speak your truth, then you're gonna get through that conversation no matter how tough it is. So if it's a matter of out talking to each other, somebody has to take the high road and do more listening until they get a chance to speak their point, and we can both agree that we can share these thoughts without any shutting down, and we can have closure to the conversation. So if you're willing and you're open enough and you're mature enough to go ahead and hear each person's perspective, then there will be no need for shutting down, because you shut down, you're gonna have the conversation again another day. Can't run from it, especially if you're in a relationship. So try going to sleep next to somebody that you didn't get closure to, and you try to put that arm around them. Depending on the type of woman you got, you're gonna get an elbow, or the conversation's gonna start again,
True, very true. I've learned from some of the gentlemen that I've got to speak with, and I've asked a ton of questions just for myself. But I've learned that men are, well, first off, that y'all think different than we think. Next thing is that you're fixers, and so when you see a problem, you're like, I'm gonna, fix that and then move on to the next thing. A lot of times we'll kind of be stuck on something, and then once it's done, we're still like replaying it or, talking about it or bringing it up. And that's not how you all are. So if that's not your natural, the type of environment or, just the whole, or if you're not feeling it, if that's not the kind of person that you are, you're going to either want to remove yourself or be like, I'm going down to the bar, or I'm done talking about it, I'm gonna go and sit in my man cave. You're gonna be done with it, because that's not what you do. You don't sit around harping over the same thing. It's like, can we fix it?
Yeah.
No, not right now. Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
come back to it when we can fix it.
Yeah.
Because we are fixers,
Mhm.
sometimes I think we even understand that it's not everything can't, even if we have the conversation today, that doesn't mean it can be fixed today. It might take conflict resolution.
Right.
The thing is, though, is can I be honest with you without judgment, right? Are you able to, even though this may be something going on in the relationship, can we have a conversation and you stop and you pause being my woman for a second and just be my friend and listen to? Because sometimes because we don't have a lot of space to be vulnerable as Black men, we don't get taught to be vulnerable. Nobody gives us permission. Nobody tells us these things. We get taught you're tough, you're okay, keep it moving. That's what we get, get up, don't cry. So dealing with our emotions, girls, y'all are taught that from babies on up, so our emotional maturity isn't the same, especially in the young 20s and things of that, when the relationships start to get real. So when I need to have a conversation with you, are you going to slow down? And like my man said, like, stop talking so much and just let me talk. And if I give you my answer, it may not be as long-winded as you would like it to be, because I'm simpler than that, simpler than you guys, than women when it comes to our emotions. So you may get a paragraph, but you wanted a book. But I don't need to explain my stuff. You have to be okay with accepting my truth. And
right. Yeah. Sometimes it's going to be that.
So we can grow and resolve it as we go. But my question is to that woman is that, are you willing to listen? Can you be my friend for a minute? Can you put your emotions aside and give me an opportunity to speak to where you're wanting to understand my side of my perspective in the situation? Because I think we probably give that more than we get, because when y'all get mad, y'all can be gone, and stuck on that.
Yeah. Well, we have a couple of more questions that we like to get to, or try and get to. Well, we were talking about emotions, so I think we'll go there first, and then we'll come back to this other question. The question is, why can't guys understand that women are emotional creatures and stop faulting us for being emotional?
I think that goes for anybody who's an experience.
Can I ask a question?
You know how that well, you don't know because you're a man, but women, we do hear that, well, you guys just emotional, and kind of, I guess it's like it's a negative, perception attached to it. And so I believe her question is like, if you already know that women are emotional, why like get on them, or why make them feel bad if they're emotional? It's like they've been emotional from the beginning of time, The
same reason the young lady asked about shutting down. If that's the type of response, meaning it works the same, it works both ways, right? So the question answers itself, meaning she's like, why do you guys shut down? If this is what majority of the men she's dealt with do, then why hasn't she accepted that as the way that they are? Right? So she's trying to get them to change. And so I think that's what it's about. It's about coming more towards the middle. I don't think you should be all anything. I think it's a little bit of in between the two. There's trauma that causes people to shut down and all that. But I don't want to say that that's normal. But for the most part, just not continuously engaging in a disagreement. Yeah, guys don't really do that. But I mean, there's some pretty emotional guys. So I mean,
yeah, there are, but I guess it's just the understanding it, because just you have to be. I think men are emotional too. It's just the way that you guys express your emotions is different, from us, and so it looks like, if it's a woman and she's crying, it's like, oh, you're emotional. Or if she gets frustrated because whatever, something doesn't go her way, or you spending too much time with your boys or whatever, and then it's like, oh, you're emotional because she's crying, or because she's got her face all turned up and she's like, you're not getting none type situation, and you're like, you're emotional, but men could be emotional as far as being upset. That's an emotion, or yeah, I mean, there's different things. I mean, there's more emotions than crying, and so I guess her question is like, why is there not more understanding? Like, okay, I understand you're emotional, but blah, blah, blah. And A lot of times that's what we want to
would
hear.
like to chime in on that.
For sure.
So like my man, Mr. Brown said, I like to say, if that's the same woman in the same spotlight, it's the same reflective question of why men are shutting down. It goes about like, if they're saying that to you consistently, how are you handling situations when you get your emotions involved, or you don't get when your emotions go back and forth in the way that you don't like, or the things that make you uncomfortable? It's more about how you're conducting yourself in that moment. If you keep on having men tell you that over and over again, it's not lying to you. So you make handling that your emotions in a way that isn't mature to be in a you know, because our women probably don't get that from men, but some.
Well, that's a good point.
Basis.
No, that's a good point. Is that
I know women that dudes be like, "Do you have emotions?" Right? Just like women have men and
right.
So you know, we have to self-assess first. That, and most people, unfortunately, they don't want to self-assess, because when they see the things they don't like, they're attached to something there that they don't want to change. So they go outward. But most of our issues that we have with other people are reflections of who we are on the inside. That's the truth of it. But most people don't want to deal with what's in here. They want to just make it easy and deal with what's out there and point the finger.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think men and women are the same emotionally. I think just the stigma on men expressing themselves emotionally is a little different. Like one of the brothers said, it's called soft sometime, you know, but that's really not true. And I think for the sake of understanding each other better, we have to find that balance between, you know, male and female relationship, because the ones who do find, you know, the balance in their emotions, they have a thriving relationship that spans, you know, the duration of their lives, sometimes usually being married forever. You know what I mean? So if you can open up to that woman and be vulnerable with those emotions, then you can trust her more. You know, otherwise you see fellas with these emotions and they feel like they get their feelings hurt or played with, they snap on everybody, you know? So it's dangerous for a brother to be emotional, because, you know, we're such barbaric creatures that if we turn, you know, and snap, it's over. So you have to tread lightly with an emotional man, you know what I mean? And sometimes if you let him dominate you in that aspect, then, you know, his emotions will matter more than yours. So the balance is more important, you know? So,
So it's not necessarily that you can't be, you know, have emotions. It's more so about, you know, monitoring and managing that. You know, are you overly emotional and, you know, are not emotional at all? You know, it's something that self-assessment that has to happen so that you can.
And the key, I think, is not trying to be right all the time, you know? If you can just not try to be right and try to understand each other, then you'll be on a road to success, you know?
Definitely. All right, we have Ricardo. Are you in here, or are we still having issues? Because we can't see you. Looks like your camera may be off. Okay. All right, I'm not seeing you. Just raise your hand or something. say something once you're in or able to get in. Okay, so moving on to our next question. All right. Okay, so why do some men have trust issues, or so many trust issues coming in the door, stemming from way back, and why haven't you tried to fix it? Now, this is something that you typically hear a lot of times, you know, about women, but there are a lot of men who, you know, bring some, you know, baggage, or they've been cheated on in their past, and or their wife left them or whatever, and they'll bring that into a relationship. So why? Why would you, would you guys say that? I know it may not be y'all, because you've grown, but you may have had an experience with that where you brought in, some trust issues.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay. All right.
That
Well,
was me before.
let's
Well,
hear it,
I
Jay.
mean, the truth is, we all bring in baggage from our past anyway. We just need to learn, how to manage that differently. So now being an advocate for therapy, just really getting some true insight from my therapist, I realized that again, it's just about accepting the things you can't change and giving people the space and the respect to be who they are. If with that space they're being disrespectful, then you create more space and you end up spacing them out of your life. So if they can't accept who you are and where you come from, then you guys just won't be a good fit anyway. But as far as the baggage, we all have it, and we just have to realize, like, this new person is not the one that cheated on you.
Right,
They
right.
didn't cause you, this pain and this anger. So you have to give them an equal chance, or else, you're taking it out on them.
Right. You basically being the person.
Mhm.
I mean, they're having this experience,
Yeah.
like you were having this experience, and it's like now
Mhm.
they're indirectly being impacted from it when they had
Yeah.
nothing to do with it.
Right.
Gentlemen, did you guys have anything to add to that, Calvin or
Yeah, I'd say that that's not everybody's experience. I'm glad Jamarlin said that. Like I've had a therapist last April, be
Yeah.
3 years, right? Just on
Okay,
some,
well,
let me just be better, just all around, right? You do other things for
Yeah.
yourself, you eat healthy, all of that. I literally set a goal, was like, all right, at this point, I'll get a therapist. Like it was just on my goals list. Um,
yeah,
so everybody isn't having that experience. It just depends on when you catch people. I mean, if you
Yeah.
start dating when they're in high school, they might not have these issues, right? Because you know
Right.
they haven't had these experiences, but they may try it out on you. So I mean, you're getting either side of it can go either way. There's no like safe space for it. It's just identifying it. Like, do you have
Yeah.
this? That's the conversation you should be having versus
mm,
we've been dating for a year, what you think, like at this exact moment. Um, it should be more around like, what's your real, like, the thing that really messed you up that you may still be recovering from. Ask somebody that and see what the answer is. If they say nothing, I mean, you can save yourself a year.
Right. They lying.
They're lying.
Right.
Yeah, you could save, you can save yourself a year, but as far as having some form of hurt and some form of, nobody's gonna do me like that again, I think we all bring some of that in. So I don't,
Mhm.
how much it shows up, it may just be fresh or, you know, other stuff could be pushing it out, but we all have triggers and you just got to know how to manage it and, kind of get past it. And therapy, like, works. It really works. Do it for yourself first before you do couples therapy because,
right.
work your own stuff out and then go and, you know, pair with
No,
somebody.
that's perfect. What you guys are saying. I'm glad that you guys brought that up because that was one of the other questions. One of the young ladies, Keisha, had asked, "What's your thoughts on therapy? And have you ever been, and why or not? Or are you open to it?" And that is, I'm glad that we're moving to a place where more Black people are being open to it, and then more men are getting to that place where they're open to it because there's always been a stigma. And even now there's still some men who are like, I don't need to go to no therapist. Black men, they're like, no, that's not for me. There's no reason I need to go and talk to somebody and they tell me, what to do basically in my life. I know how to, manage my life. And it's just like, I would recommend for women who are getting therapy and for men who are, seeking a therapist, select a person who is either open to it or already doing it. Because if they're not, we all have trauma and baggage and different things that we're recovering from. But if they're not open to it and you're, involved in it and there's some baggage maybe that they have and they're just completely closed off, you're going to have issues because you're not on the same page anyways, because you're getting mentally healthy, whereas they're staying in the same place or completely oblivious that they have, issues that they may need to work through. So that's my advice. But Ricardo, it looks like you're in. I'm not for sure we can hear you. Can you say something?
You guys can hear me.
Oh, perfect. We can hear you. Okay, so did you have something that you wanted to add or add to the conversation or?
Yeah, before we move on to the next question, just a little chime in on what the stigma can be for you, when you're, leaving one relationship and going to another. It can be very hard. We do have trust issues. We do.
Okay.
I mean, I believe every man should be able to admit that, especially if they've been hurt before. I mean, I was in a relationship for 7 years, and I tried to marry this woman the whole time. Every time we set out to shop for the ring, set up the the wedding, and like really start putting things into relative motion, it was always a distraction. It was always a distraction, whether it be family or people from her past, new people coming into her life. It was always a distraction, and it took a real bad toll on me because this was the woman I had chose. Like I made up my mind. I told all the other ones I'm good. I'm settling down. This is the one. Like we could be cool if you're cool with being cool with my lady. But if you're not cool with being cool with her, then there's nothing else we can do with each other. Like we can't even be friends no more because this is who it is now.
Right. So you deal with all the women, a lot of women are asking for.
Right. So my thing was what affected me was it took her to go through all of that and get me to be to the point to where I'm worked up. Like we're really close now. Like we talk about it, and she told me that for the last year and a half up to that point, she had been struggling to stay with me. Like she didn't want to be with me anymore, and what hurt was she carried me on that long. Like when you first started feeling that, you should have told me. It would have hurt, you know what I'm saying? But I would have gotten over it. Like get over a cold. It took a little bit longer, but of course, you do find the courage and the strength, and you have the support. Like you guys were talking about therapy. You can get therapy to help you to get on from that moment, and so just to chime in with you guys, yeah, that's some of the baggage we have. That's my baggage. I have trust issues now. Not deep rooted, like it's not I'm paranoid or anything like that, but there's certain things that I do now, there's certain questions that I ask before I proceed and before I let my heart start to really truly get involved, because that was almost a death blow to me. Like I thought I was living the life with this woman. I was good. I had no idea she wasn't. That can cause some serious damage and trust issues. But you move on. You meet new people and you just move on and it works out.
Okay. Well, instead, thank you. That kind of touches on some things that we were talking about where, the women were asking about the baggage, but in this situation, it was, them coming in to the situation with baggage, with you, so it happens on both sides, y'all. So just so you know, there's, people
I had
coming
my
in.
little baggage, but my baggage was nothing compared to what she had going on. My baggage was like low level trust issues before I even got there, but she like really blew the lid off of them for a second.
Well, that's great that you decided to, go ahead and get the therapy, because I think that is an amazing thing, especially for Black men, Black women. We need it, and some of the happiest Black men that I've seen, do therapy. So, well, thank you so much, Ricardo, for coming on. We appreciate you for dropping in and adding to the conversation. Thank you.
All right, y'all have a good one. Peace.
Thank you. So we have another question. Okay, we're going to try and answer that question and then go into our last question of the night. I don't see any more. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So our last, one of our last questions, well, the second to last question would be, fellas, is it a turnoff for you if your woman is a boss?
What?
Is it a turnoff as or could that limit your time together? Basically, so do you got a problem with your woman being a boss? You know,
That's her
she's a,
occupation. That's not.
yeah, yeah, she's a boss chick. That's her. That's her title. No, I'm just like,
Going over to her
no,
personal life.
no, a boss. You know, basically, you guys are all entrepreneurs. You have your business. We kind of touched on this earlier, but how do you feel if she's a boss VP of some, you know, Fortune 500 company? Is that going to affect you, or either way?
That don't work at home. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. My kid is probably in there doing something I didn't ask them to do right now. Like, it doesn't work at home. You're not a boss like that. It's kind of even around. I can't. You know what I mean? You know, there's different things you have control over, but it's kind of even. Nobody's a boss at their home. If they are, then that's a personality thing. You're probably holding it together, and more than likely, you're probably a little tender. So you have to like create this perception of yourself, right? So that nobody can hurt you, because nobody's like, maybe somebody, but generally speaking, nobody wants to be in that capacity all the time. I don't want to be the boss all the time at work, right? Sometimes I want people to just figure it out, but
Right.
so I signed up for that, but I don't even want to be that all the time. So the idea that you're doing it at work and at home is a little exaggerated. You know what I mean? Like, that's a crazy personality. Like, you just can't turn that off. That just doesn't make good sense. That's why everybody laughs, because it just doesn't make sense to, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, I think that the conversation is, you know, it's come up about, you know, when a woman is working or she's in the corporate world and, you know, she's climbing the ladder, you know, that's an issue for some because they want, maybe at the end of the day, they wanted to stay at home wife, you know, or someone they felt like is more so submissive. And when you're working in the corporate, you know, environment, you are submitting to your boss, you know, most of the time, and maybe struggle when you come home, you know. So I guess that's where, you know, the question comes in is, how do you guys feel about that? Or you feel like, you know, we can talk about things and in as long as we have an understanding of what we're doing at home, working together, and it's not one person be the boss or the other, you know, like just basically what your perspective is on that.
I would say, for one, I definitely agree with Calvin, you know, as far as like, if that goes into the home, like it's something else going on there. But I mean, just in the general sense of the man woman thing, is whenever we most likely we didn't meet you as you being a boss anyway, right? And if we met and we connected, then that's just this is a man woman thing, and our relationship is different. Now at the end of the day, it's about balance. It's like, okay, you might need to be the boss of this and I need to be the boss of this, but we balance each other out, and then and we can be even keel, and whatever that looks like as far as how, you know, certain things go. You know, it's you know, it's about balance though at the end of the day. And like, and I say that to say is like, I think that on certain levels with certain things, women are built for war. So I like to have a woman that's assertive, that has a strong personality, because I have one. And so for me, having a woman that I can just push over all the time is like, I don't want a woman that I can just tell to do whatever and doesn't have any backbone with me. So a woman that's more assertive and that's going to stand her ground, whether I'm going to agree with her or not, that doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you. It just means though, if you got a little fight in you, you're going to get my attention and make, you know, but I think that women are built for war, but y'all aren't built for the front line. And so I think that with men, you know, we're balancing out. So we should deflect some things over here and let you do it over here. And, you know, and it works out. So the boss mentality is like, you know, I don't really see that. Doesn't really work in relationships. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we're coming together to be balanced. And typically, if y'all are vibing and you're really looking to grow with someone, then that's what you're going to be getting. At least you can identify things that are going to let you know if that's a person that y'all going to balance each other out, or Do they have that personality, conflict or thing that they need to be in control over here? Then that's a conversation to have. And can that person take being made aware of this and just say, hey, this, you're not the boss of me. we're in a relationship.
Right.
So
Like, Boston,
what does that conversation look like? And where can we go with that? And some people can't handle that. They're going to shut down, or they're going to defend that. And then that lets you know, what do you do from there? So it just has to be communication when you see something, and can that communication be taken as a growth opportunity for the relationship and the individual, if not both, hopefully.
Yes. Okay. Let's see here. Gentlemen, did you guys have anything else to add to that?
I'll add. I think that's some movie stuff anyway. I don't think. Yeah, I don't. I've never met a woman that's a boss that wants to boss a man around. Like, that it just doesn't, unless he don't have no job or something. But even then, you picked the brother, so you got to treat him with some respect anyway.
Right.
Yeah, for the sake of a relationship, I don't think a woman, regardless if she's top tier at her job, she gonna submit when she get home.
She get this out.
Yeah, she's gonna have to. Unless her man come home, and when she come home, he wearing the lingerie waiting for her.
Right.
Yeah.
She's gonna make them tacos.
Well, okay, so for the last question is more so about, we're going to close out, but wanted to ask, as far as what you're looking for, or what did you look for, or, so what did you look for, or what are you looking for as it pertains to selecting a partner? So if you're single, what are you looking for? If you are in a relationship, married, whatever, then what is it that you look for in selecting that, partner, that you're like, okay, yeah, I can rock with you, and how I see you as a benefit, coming into my life. What is it that you look for? Jamarlin, go ahead.
Well, for me, I had this theory. With my lady right now, I told her I've yet to see a couple who prays for each other and prays together that did not find success in their relationship. So, we decided to build on a godly foundation. So, we're gonna be planning a wedding in the next 2 years or so. So, we've been exercising, just foundation in our communication and balance, and just trying to really see eye to eye and go through life together, as equal partners, and understanding each other, what we need, knowing our strengths and weaknesses. So, just being best friends at the same time. So just, really getting to know each other deeply, and and doing that, I found my soulmate, but she was my soulmate before we even did all that. So
right. Okay.
That's the good part, when
so
it's
it's
your
the
soulmate.
Foundation.
When it's your soulmate, it's nothing you can do to get rid of that person. They're not going anywhere,
Awesome. Agile, Calvin.
As far as like what someone would say they look for, even for me, like I always come back to the same things, and the two things are always kind of simple, right? It's consistency and honesty. Like everything else, like no matter what kind of relationship you have with anybody, those two factors, like I think when people talk about I was married before, like just in selecting a partner, then those were the two factors that were there. Even if it didn't work out, like that thing, you still have that with the person, even if you guys aren't together, right? After you leave, you don't have like a bad relationship. Those relationships, like consistency and honesty were the two things that were like pillars in that. I think you build on the rest of it. I think it's ever changing. I don't have like a, laundry list in that way, but I think those two things have mattered in probably all of the types of relationships that I seek. So I don't,
Yeah.
and as Mom was talking about praying and all that, that's consistency, like consistently caring for the other
Mhm.
person's needs before your own, right? So I think it's all around those two factors, at least for me.
Nice. All right, and finishing up with Mr. Curtis, Chef Curtis.
Well, for me, as I think I've probably stated a couple times, is what I look for in a woman again is her having an intimate relationship with.
Where he go?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, the connection.
I could tell you what he was going to say, though. He was saying he's looking for a woman having an intimate relationship with herself.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Because that is what we spoke about. He's coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are finishing your sentences over here. Curtis.
Hello.
There you are. Okay.
Yeah, my laptop went dead on me.
Okay, no problem.
So what I was saying though is that I seek a woman that has an intimate relationship with herself first, as I have one with myself, right? I'm not asking for anything that I don't bring to the table in that aspect, because the truth of the matter is that you can only know someone to the depths that you know yourself, and you can only love someone to the depths that you love yourself. So that's very important and very significant to me, to have someone that's working on themselves. Just to say this is just who I am and you gotta take me like this is like, I understand that's a part of you,
Right.
but it doesn't have to be unless you choose for it to be. So
Right.
and understanding that about myself, and now it's like to be able to have a woman that you can grow with and have a friendship is probably next. And how does she manage her time? You know what I'm saying? As well, whether is she building on her career? Is she trying to start a business? Just what is I like to just have someone that's building something for herself, what that looks like, that's constructive, because our relationship with time is very important. And so it's important that we're building and doing something with our time, because the time is like one of our biggest, time and relationships are our biggest assets.
Okay.
In my opinion. So, those are the things that I look for. And even when I say intimacy, and I look at that as self-love, right? Because we're taught to love everything,
everybody else,
but nobody teaches to love ourselves. They teach you to love your neighbor, they teach you to love God and believe in God and this is that and the third and different things, but on a different level, we're not really taught self-love. And the truth is, love don't love nobody. Like, love is just love, but it doesn't love you or me. You can be love or be a loving person, but love doesn't typically love anybody, right? But to love yourself and really figure out what that really means. Because it's like, in my opinion, there's layers to that.
Okay.
And when you get there, if I ask people that, if I say, hey, V, do you love yourself? You'll probably say yes. But then if I ask you tomorrow and ask you, just so I want to separate the conversations, like, what are the things that you want to do? You know what I'm saying? Do you want to work out? Do you want to start a career? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to do? And so the things that your heart desires, you tell yourself you're going to do, are you doing those things? If you
into yourself,
right, so if you say you want to lose weight or something like that, then are you going to the gym? Are you eating better? Are you changing that? And if you're not, then I'm going to question your self-love, because that's what self-love looks like.
Right.
It looks like a lot of discipline. I think one of the men said earlier today about the discipline, and self-love looks like a lot of discipline. So it's intimacy with oneself, loving oneself, because once you go in here and start getting this right within yourself, what comes out of you is beautiful. It is something that you probably don't even really know who you are if you haven't dealt with your traumas and dealt with all the other stuff. So it's to once you get in there and start getting rid of the baggage and forgiving yourself and really loving on yourself and dealing with all that's in there, what you find you may really, really like. And your perspective will change. And so that's what I mean when I say intimacy, because that's something that's rare. Most people don't have it. And not saying that her level has to be the same as mine, because hers may be deeper than mine or not as deep. But at least someone that's working on it, you know, that is aware of it.
Definitely. I think that's
important.
Hit on the head with that. Like it's extremely important. But yeah, 2 more questions snuck in, and so we're going to try and do it as quickly as possible, because I want to give you guys an opportunity to give your social media and ways that people can get in contact with you. And then we'll make sure that we post it too under the video. So 2 questions. One is, when in a relationship, what options do men apply to keep the romantic and sensual side alive, that don't include cheating? Okay. So I'll let you guys go ahead and attack that one. And then we have one more short question.
Let me say first, Black men don't cheat.
Okay, Charlamagne. Thank you.
You can answer that.
What'd you say?
Feel free to.
Well, for me, essentially, you just gotta love what you're looking at. You know, if you picked a girl that does it for you, man, have her often. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not mad at that.
Right.
I think those date nights, you gotta don't forget about the date nights.
Man, you got to do it all, because forever is a long time, and if that's what you want, show her. You know, you got a whole person to yourself. You know, and you must express yourself in those ways that are beautiful between a man and a woman. You know, often. Yeah, that builds ultimate intimacy. You know, the closeness is unmatched.
And exploring each other. So, takes a while. You don't have a person all the way figured out just in the beginning. So you're constantly able to learn about each other. So I think, helps as well with the sensual side of the relationship. Did any of you guys want to add anything short, really quick, or if not, then we'll move on to the next question, last question.
I would just say that, of course, it's the man thing, but because women want to be wooed, but of course, we get a lot of times when we're the ones dating, and sometimes the man's the only one being romantic. We don't have, and like Valentine's, women get a whole day of Valentine's, and different things. But typically that's one-sided thing. So, I think sometimes the women forget that for men, we're gonna, we're gonna want to have you often if if we're attracted to you. So are we seeing you in just your bonnet and your chill clothes, or do you still stay dolled up when you're just at home, right? Does he get to see you looking sexy, not just, the regular you? That makes it, because when I met you, every time I saw you, you were dolled up. Now, we don't expect that continuously every day, when we know that's unrealistic, and we like the fact that we can be attracted to the regular you, right? But sometimes we need to still see the woman that we met that was dolled up, that had the makeup and the nice outfit on, and whatever the case may be. Women forget about that, you know what I mean? And it's this man, when we all kind of forget and stop doing things, because when we start living together and get accustomed, we get comfortable. But so it's not just one thing that keeps a man being romantic, but it's just like whatever we did to get that person, whatever you did as a man, whatever you did as a woman, that's really required through the relationship, to some extent. And as we change and we evolve, that's going to change a little bit, but it takes communication to do it. But still, if men, we're really physical. So I need to see you in that nice dress, or that little makeup on, or that whatever, I need to see that. And sometimes, why do we have to always go out to get you to dress up? Maybe sometimes I come home from work and you're
You
in your nightgown or a cocktail dress. You know what I'm saying? Like
looking
a
fine.
man that walks home to that will be a very happy man. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that. I always heard, you know, from my mom, you know, and then I'm sure it was passed down from my grandma that to never be too common or being, don't be so comfortable that, you know, you just kind of like don't have yourself together. You're just like, well, I got you. You know, I got you now. You stuck with me. So now you just see me in the, you know, the bonnet or the headscarf and, you know, whatever outfit, just looking homely. You got your move on, you know.
And that's cool
I mean, I don't think
sometimes, but
yeah,
sometimes
sometimes that's
I need you to
okay.
seduce me.
Right, you know, but you know, you got that old, you know, nightgown on that got holes and it's your favorite because you've been wearing it to death. You know, like you might not want to see that all the time. You know, you might still be able to get it, you know, with the toe back nightgown on, but every once in a
You
while,
know, we're gonna have bonnet sex. We know it. You know what I'm saying? We ain't mad about it. But sometimes, you know, we need to have that. You know, we need to be seduced as well. You know.
right, right. Okay. Well, last question of the night, and it is: Can men sense when a woman lacks confidence?
Yes. Yes. The
Yes.
direction that your relationship goes is based on who has the most confidence. Like
Mm,
that's what shapes the initial look of the relationship until you get to a point where there's maybe enough trust where each person says, hey, look, there's not enough space in the room for you because for me, you know, when you come in because of this, that, and the third, until you can
yeah.
have that conversation though, whoever has the most confidence usually shapes the direction. Hey,
Mm,
I'm busy tonight. I'm not, you know, they don't feel the need to maybe compromise because they are that confident that you'll be there when you come
mm,
go out on the nights they are available as opposed to, you know, when both of you guys work it out. So yeah, there you can definitely sense it. And if you don't have it, people with strong personalities dominate. You'll think, you know what I mean, like they're being maybe bad to you or something, but that's just their personality, and it's
mm,
yours at the time. So it's not always a thing that it's always like that. Some things do hurt your confidence, but generally speaking, I mean, you kind of get it back really quickly, right? There's never been a time
mhm,
traumatized and you used to be a confident person like 2 weeks ago, and
mhm.
you know it doesn't really work like that.
Right, right. Um, let's see, Marlon.
Just the whole confidence thing. Or what was the question again? I
So the
zoned out. Y'all got me thinking about something totally different right now.
so sorry, I think it was that sensual stuff.
Yeah,
The
I'm
body
waiting on it. I'm waiting on it.
We're gonna bring him back. Bring him back.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the question was, can men sense when a woman lacks confidence?
yeah. Oh yes, yes. You know, it could be the simple things sometimes, and it also depends on how comfortable you are, you know, in that relationship. But usually, when a woman doesn't have her legs shaved or something like that, that's on her though. It has nothing to do, you know, with us as men, but it's just, you know, once you let them know that they're beautiful how they are, and you know, regardless if you have hair on your legs right now, you're still, you know, attractive and beautiful to me. You know, that builds their confidence up. Cause I mean, I'm not a woman, of course, but like I don't know how tough it is to get all dolled up and to shave your legs. You might cut yourself frequently, and you know, I mean, it's something that they don't do daily, right? So
Okay.
it
Well,
takes
yes.
work. It takes the work to be all dolled up all the time. So, you know, if they get to take a few days off and it doesn't hurt their confidence, that's cool. But some, you know, they just feel like it's too much energy to be always on point. So that might take a hit on their confidence unless
Yeah.
their partner is building them up to a point where they can do no wrong. And the bonnet in the bed is not going to be a problem, you know?
Or you
Right
know,
amount of
even
confidence. Yeah.
some folks they can be confident and hairy. You know, like they might be.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's when I just grab my clippers and you know I shave the legs with my clipper.
Right.
If it bothered me, you know.
You're
Can't hear you.
muted. Can't hear you.
No.
We can't hear you now.
There you go. There you
There we
go.
go. Came in. That's hilarious. So confidence for you. We're gonna make this quick. Curtis, I want you guys to have time to talk about your, your social media, your platforms. Curtis, are you able to identify and, see when a woman is lacking confidence?
Right. I definitely can. I think women can notice when a man lacks confidence as well. I think at this point, but yeah, you can definitely see it. And I think that, as we are all attracted to a person that is confident, because there's something attractive about it, right? It's a sexiness to it. But like Jamarlin was saying, as a man, you compliment your woman, you make her feel good, you make her feel sexy. So even if she isn't like dolled up and, what I'm saying, or haven't shaved her legs or whatever that she does to keep herself up, hopefully she has her own self-esteem, and then you just reassure her that she's enough without all the other stuff. It's like those are situations to you. Yes. And I love it. But just you're enough. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the fact that you shave your legs and you do this and that, but come here. I still want you. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be, a big deal if you're not like that today because you've been busy or haven't felt like it lately. That's okay. So that you would hope that doesn't take her self-confidence up. And of course, if it does, juice her up a little bit, man, build her up. And put her up here. Because it's a million. Because you better believe when your woman leaves, there's a million other guys just putting her up here, just opening the door, just doing this, and this, and they're offering some. You know what I'm saying? Women get offered on a regular basis, way more than us men. So, but we forget that because we get comfortable. But I just think give her some game, make her feel reassured, and and so you should be able to work through that. But it is an attractive trait, and we can tell.
Yeah, awesome. No, I mean, and that confidence, it makes a difference when you are getting, complimented by your man, because a lot of times you might get complimented by other dudes, and other people when you go on about, your business. But for me personally, I do like to hear the compliments from my guy because I'm with you. So it's important what you're thinking, not necessarily what everyone else is thinking. I appreciate it, But yeah, as far as the confidence thing, I know that there are some ladies who think like I have to tell some women that I talk to and give advice to is that they can smell it, just like we can when we notice a man is not confident and it's kind of like repulsive sometimes in a way. Same thing for some men. Now, if they've already, invested into you and they like you, they'll probably be able to work with that. But if they don't know you, if you just meeting some woman and you notice that she's not confident out and about, you might not even be attracted to her in the first place because of being able to pick up the fact that she's not confident or it's insecure.
Right, because as men, like I think a lot of men love women just like that has that walk, right? When you see her, it's just like she may not have that Coke bottle shape, but she has something, and it's something about her just how she walks. She's like, yeah, she got that walk. So we appreciate a woman that has confidence in her, and you can typically tell how she walks. It can be simple as that.
For sure. Well, it was awesome having you guys. We're done with all of our questions. I thank you guys for sticking it out, hanging in there, and answering so many of the questions. Definitely appreciate all of the different perspectives, and the audience does too. They've been loving it and enjoying this talk. So thank you so much. I want to kind of go one by one so you guys can tell us about basically what you're doing or just what your social media is, so that they can get in contact with you if there's something that they want to do, if they want to book a private party with you. So I'll let you go ahead and go first, Curtis, and then we'll move on.
Okay. Well, again, my name is Curtis. My social media is my Facebook is Ambiance. events and catering. So that's my business page there. Probably better social media that's more current and there's more activity on is my my Instagram, which is Ambiance. So that's AMBIANCEENC. So Ambiance ENC on IG, right? And then that's also my website, ambianceenc.com. That's my website. And ambianceenc@gmail.com. That's my my email. So everything is the same. So we do events and catering. I'm a pit master and a chef. So my niche in it is I smoke different components of the meals. We might do a chicken marsala, but I'm gonna smoke the chicken, right? So that's a classic Italian dish, but with smoked chicken instead of just a grilled or seared chicken. So that's my niche, amongst other things. So check out the page and anything that you can kind of think of with food, we can do it. If I don't do it myself, I got a team of chefs that are badass, and we ready to work, and we do private events, date nights, and any catering, any type of event. So we don't discriminate. So hit me up, inbox me, send me an email. Email's better. For business purposes as well as we're beginning to grow. So again, my name is Curtis. I am Bub, and my presence is a presence because I am love.
Nice. Okay, and so let's move on to Agile. Calvin Brown. Let us know what you're doing. I know that you just recently did a TED Talk, so we all love good TED Talks. So if you can let us know how to get in contact with you and what you're working on next, what to check out.
Oh, wow. So I'll start from the last question. What I'm working on now, just our normal, day-to-day business stuff. I own and run a software company that's multinational, both here and in California. So, that's anything from apps to, self-checkout systems, autonomous driving. We do, all that kind of stuff. So real heavy tech, nerdy stuff, that we get done.
Cool nerd though.
Online. For business, it's I am Calvin Brown. So, it's pretty much links to everything there. All of the stuff that we do, or even that I do as far as like podcasts and all that. I think I did 6 or so last week. Like all of those links, I don't know why I assume people have them, but that stuff kind of all appears on the site. If you want to follow, like I have, my personal page is Agile the Great. That's ADJO the Great. Don't look for a lot of content. I really don't have a lot of time to spend on social media like that, and you'd probably be telling on yourself if you did. So I do post content there, stuff I think is important every now and again. So you can find me on those two.
Awesome. Last but not least, Jamarlin, we know that you just came out with your autobiography titled Resilience.
Yeah.
I know personally that how resilient you are, but just let us know about your social media.
My Facebook is Jamarlin Lowe, JAMARLIN LOWE, and I also have a page for the book, which is Resilient Jamarlin Lowe as well. It's on Facebook, and then I have my website, which is resilientjamarlinlowe.com or JLOWEmusic.com.
Yes, forget about the music.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on Ask a Black Man. I appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys enjoyed being a part of the show and giving some insight to us, ladies and gentlemen too.
Thank you, V. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. And Jamal, what kind of music do you do? If you don't mind me asking, real quick.
Everything. Yeah,
Different genre.
Yeah, black music too, though. R&B. I used to produce her.
Yeah, back in the day, I used to do a lot of music with them and come and do different hooks and
okay. So production, though. So you're a producer.
Yeah, production. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I do commercials for websites, the whole nine.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely connect. I'll connect with both of you brothers afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure, definitely. Well, awesome. We're gonna make sure that we get you all's information and attach it to the YouTube so that people can check it out if they were not watching live. All right. Well, thank you again, and thank you to the community out there. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.